Aaron, what made you want to talk Jalen Milroe today?
Because the people who watch our show love when we talk Alabama.
Okay, that's a little too much sausage making there. I'd prefer just a tad subtlety in QB1. It's like when
No,
plays are coming in from the sideline, you don't want to just tell the defense what you're doing, maybe like a code word or something.
they play defense for a reason. They're not that smart. I will say this. The more that I hear from certain people involved with the program, and the more you think about the success that he did have, especially towards the end of last season, how much he grew as a player, and that he was legitimately, he was on the outside looking in when it comes to the Heisman conversation. He did lead his team to a victory over Georgia, the number one team in the country, a team that hadn't lost in almost 3 seasons. And then he was right in the cuffs, if it wasn't for a bad snap, of possibly being Michigan and winning a national championship. So, like, for how bad we viewed Alabama football at times last year, and how bad we viewed maybe Jalen at times last year, explosive plays, big plays down the field, big plays in the running game. And this was all with a very subpar offensive coordinator. Now you get a better offensive mind. I would say similar talent around you. I know they lost some weapons in the offseason through the portal, but it's not like their weapons were anything super sexy last year. You gain a year of experience. You got a great O-line. I would say an upgrade at the running back position. Why not? And you have one of the second most talented team with a blue chip ratio in the country with a better offensive-minded staff. Why can't Jalen significantly move up?
Are you at all worried about Kalen DeBoer without Ryan Grubb?
No.
They have been 2 peas in a pod for so long. Grubb has always been there. Is Kalen DeBoer actually the genius behind that offense, or has it been Ryan Grubb?
I'd say it's still DeBoer's. I mean, obviously, it's nice to have someone you trust that you can go into a situation like becoming the next head coach of Alabama, where there are, let's be honest, there's more responsibilities being the head coach of Alabama than there's Washington. There's more people knocking on your door. There's more things you have to do. And to have a guy that you could trust, that you've worked with to handle the offense it's massive for you. But still, I would say the overall schematics and everything that they're going to run this year will be still much of what DeBoer and Grubb kind of put together and built together. So it's going to be the same. It'll be the same damn thing. It just is. To me, it's not a question of the offense or who's calling the plays. It is, has Jalen, who from all accounts has improved significantly as a passer this offseason, is he ready to take what he's done in spring and practice, which is different than taking into a game?
Look, I think there's when you look at all the great returning quarterbacks, everyone else feels a bit more like known quantities.
Mm-hmm.
I think I am ready to say that there is not a returning quarterback, a big returning quarterback, not counting like a Garrett Green from WVU in here, although I want to talk about Garrett Green a bit later when we get in our non-con games. But like a big-time returning quarterback, there is no one more poised to take a massive leap than Jalen Milroe. He's obviously got all the physical tools. I believe he's got the mental tools. I think he's got the intangibles in terms of leadership, confidence, how he views like what it takes to be successful on this level. As you said, maybe most importantly, a just gargantuan upgrade in terms of the mind behind him that's going to be training him and calling plays for him. The only thing is, the only fly in the ointment is simply the weapons. Yeah. I mean, Jeremy Bernard.
Your top 3 guys from last year are gone. Burns gone. Isaiah Bond's gone. Nia Black is gone.
And again, I don't think those were overwhelmingly good guys, but already you are like, if they're gone and they were your best, well, then ostensibly you're taking a step back. And so if they already weren't overwhelmingly good, then what is this group that you're left with right now?
Let's just look at his stats, though. Just under 3,000 yards passing, 66% completion, 23 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 500 yards rushing with 12 touchdowns. So 35 total touchdowns. The big number is obviously sacks, 44 sacks. He's got to improve getting the ball out. And I think if it goes hand in hand with the intermediate accuracy. If you're a confident passer throwing the ball from
Yeah.
Say line of scrimmage to 15 yards, you're getting the ball out now. What did Georgia fans bitch about Carson all last year? Well, he was doing too much of that, not throwing it down the field. Like if you could, hybrid Carson and Jalen's game of the deep ball accuracy with what Carson was doing from, once again, line of scrimmage to 20 yards down the field, you'd have the best college quarterback of all time. I mean, Jalen's accuracy down the field was incredible last year. But the more comfortable he gets throwing the intermediate passes, the less time he's going to get sacked because he's not waiting for things to open downfield. He's just going to see it, let it rip. And that's what they're working on. It's see it, let it rip, get the ball to your hands. And when things come open down the field later in the game, you take those chances later.
Yeah, so interestingly, I was perusing PFF, Aaron, and I found some numbers to support this. Because, yes, we all know that his improvement has to be in the intermediate and short range. And how do you do that? It's by making quicker decisions. Jalen Milroe, this is easily the biggest red flag from last year and the biggest mark against him. Jalen Milroe, this will blow your mind, Aaron, had a 3.44 second average time to throw, nearly 3.5 seconds on average to throw the ball. That is an eternity. Like I struggled to provide context for how long that is.
That's a long damn time.
It was the highest in the nation.
It's a long damn time.
It was the highest in the nation. He was trying to let them 40-yard fly go routes.
But it's because he is that athletic, no doubt about it. Teams rush him very differently.
I'm not saying that he has to be, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he has to be like Carson Beck protecting himself with his quick decisions and getting the ball out immediately, but it still has to be better. And like it will.
And he also has to just take off at times too. I mean, you remember what was it, the Auburn game? I believe it was the Auburn game. At times he just took off and ran, and you're like, dude, just do that more. I feel like he got
LSU. He definitely just took off and ran.
Or maybe it was LSU. It was Auburn. It was LSU. I mean, he just took off and ran. Just go. They're gonna drop. Just take off and run. He is the fastest player on the field.
Yeah. So again, this all goes hand in hand, though. You get better at the intermittent short game by making quicker decisions. Quicker decisions lead to a lower average time to throw. The other thing he needs to improve on, because he doesn't do well when you speed him up, teams started blitzing the hell out of him. His passing grade, and everybody's grade's going to drop when they get blitzed, right? Everybody's grade is going to drop when they're under pressure, but his drops are more extreme than others. His passing grade for PFF went from an 88.7 overall, very good, down to a 65.3 when you would blitz him. If you manage to get pressure, that was down to a 39.5. If he can start beating blitzes with pre-snap recognition and getting the ball out of hand because he knows where to go and he's getting the ball to a playmaker in space with room to operate, he does it quickly. If he can do that, he will become truly unstoppable. And then he will be the Heisman candidate that some were trying to paint him as last year.
He has more touchdowns. So who are the couple top guys for the Heisman right now? Carson is up there. He has more touchdowns than Carson had last year. More touchdowns than Quinn Ewers had last year. I don't think he had more touchdowns than Dylan, but they're kind of in that same ballpark. When I think of college guys that have the best chance to win a Heisman, he is that guy. Big brand, national recognition, primetime television games. You're the quarterback, and you're that type of athlete that can create explosive plays, not only in the air, but with your legs as well. He will have more what we term Heisman-like moments than the rest of those guys are going to have.
I mean, he was second in the country to Garrett Green last year in big-time throw rate. So, yes, the guy makes massive plays. But I mean, are the weapons going to hold him back here? How do you overcome it if guys can't get open?
You got to run the football, and which I think that's still going to be Alabama. This is not going to be. I said earlier that the offensive scheme will be similar to what Washington was, and it will be. But I think there will be a little bit more heavy emphasis on the run. When you have an offensive line that's going to be as big as Alabama's, when you have a running back that, maybe you can term those guys as unproven, but it's a talented running backfield. You're going to want to run the football early and then create one-on-ones on the outside. Alabama has to do that. And I know they like the guys. Like, they're young. Like Kobe Prentice, I remember him from a couple of years ago. Really jumped out to me.
Yeah.
Law. They have talented guys, obviously unproven. But I thought you said it best earlier. If they were so talented, why didn't they play more last year? Why didn't they have a bigger impact last year? So, and maybe it's just a better situation thing.
according to the hive mind, Jeremy Bernard is supposed to be their number one guy, and that's the transfer from Washington, and he had like 400 yards last year.
Yeah.
Again,
but
though,
he was stuck behind 3 studs, though.
Yes, and also, again, though, if you're going to tell me his weapons suck, Georgia's weapons suck too. Let's just be clear about that, okay? Although,
I just think the problem is Georgia at least returns their guys. The players the players that he was throwing to last year, his top 3 guys are all gone. And you can say the same about Carson, but the difference is Carson's top 2 guys that both went to the NFL draft didn't play for the significant portion of the season. So Carson got used to throwing to the other ones.
So look, either way, I think the overall takeaway from this conversation is, again, no top tier quarterback has a chance to make more of a jump than Jalen Milroe.
Agreed.
So many elements are in play. It's just whether or not he can overcome the lack of weapons.